And we are back with our special show, How to Sell a House. Part of our special series designed to give you a jump start to all the real estate you want to do in 2017. Straight ahead, selling your house at an auction. How does that work? And is it right for you? That's coming up on our special show, How to Sell a House. Continuing now with our special program, How to Sell a House, filled with all the expert strategies you'll need to sell your house fast and for the maximum price. And now, are you ready to talk hardball? Because right now we're going to tell you about one of the most effective ways to sell any house, anywhere in America. So effective, you even know the date you'll sign the contract. That technique is selling your house at auction. Joining us now is Mike Jones, Realtor and President of Auction Services at United Real Estate and United Country Real Estate. Mike's the 1998 International Champion Auctioneer. He's also the past president of the National Auctioneers Association, and he's in the Auctioneer Hall of Fame. Mike, welcome to Real Estate Today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you.
Well, we're glad you're here. So, Mike, why sell my house at auction?
We're in the marketing business, and that's what an auction is. Just look at it this way. There's 10,000 ping pong balls on the floor. They're all white. We're going to paint one red. Which one does everybody look at? It's the red ping pong ball. How's that?
I like it. So, Mike, if I want to sell my house at auction and I contact you, what's the first step?
First step is we're going to come out and take a look at the property, and we're going to do inspections. We'll spend some time there on the property looking at all angles, getting a good feel for the property, interviewing the seller, and making sure that we have a good understanding of what the product is. Once we've done that, we move into the other phases, and that would be doing comps for the neighborhood, find out what the taxes and the insurance and all the things that we're going to want to put together for a disclosure document that we're going to present to buyers. So we want to make sure that the buyer has a good experience as well. It's going to be very much like a traditional listing. All we're doing basically is creating an accelerated marketing plan for that property. We want to expose it. We want to give it plenty of time in all areas of the marketing campaign. We'll be on all kinds of websites. We'll have the technology running 24/7. There'll be some mail perhaps involved, depends on the property. You know, we've used radio. We've used all types of media. And, of course, social media is a big piece of the puzzle today. So we want to interact with as many agents and brokers as we can because we like to co-broke, give everybody a chance to make some money, and also bring their buyers. So once that happens, you've got about a 60-day period from the time that we sign the contract to do the auction to the time that the auction event takes place. If it's an online auction, we'll probably run the online auction for around 10 days to 2 weeks, and at the conclusion of that, then it'll wrap up. There's two types. You've got the live auction and you've got the online auction, or you can do a simulcast and do a combo. It depends on the property.
So a huge difference here between auctions and conventional real estate is you set the actual date it's going to sell.
That's right. We create the sense of urgency for the seller to move that property, which creates urgency for the buyer. The buyer has to say, you know what, if I'm going to buy that property, I've got to get on it. A good real estate auction company is going to walk the seller and the buyer through the process so there's no surprises, it's all transparent, and they'll have a good experience. But ultimately, the end game is here's the date of the event, and here's the proposed date for closing.
So on that day, Mike, the bids are now in. Has someone bought the property at that point, and has the seller sold it, or do they have some time to think it through once the numbers are on the table?
Well, let's look at it from this way. There's multiple types of auctions. There's a live outcry auction that may have a minimum or a reserve price, or it could be an absolute auction. If it's absolute auction and it goes up for bid and somebody bids, now it has to sell. You're selling it to someone at whatever price it brings. Now, the other thing is the online auction. With the online auction, there's an expiration date. With the online auction, there's going to be a time that it ends, but at the same time, once it gets to that point, if there's multiple bids coming in at the very end, which is very typical, and then through technology, those periods are extended. I've seen an online auction go for a day and a half on because people keep bidding. That's one of the great things about it is that sense of urgency. And that's another thing, too, about the auction is we pre-qualify all of our buyers. You're not looking at tire kickers. You're looking at people who are really interested. And then the final piece would be the sealed bid sale, where you open up the bids and here they are. In some cases on high-end real estate, we will have a multiple level of sealed bid. So there'll be a sealed bid. We'll have the highest and best top 3 or top 5, and then we will bid it off from there.
Tell us about the final day when the property sells. What happens on the buyer's side and what happens on the seller's side?
Once we've declared the property sold, we will present the contract to the buyer at that time. They will have to have presented a cashier's check or a form of payment for the amount that's required down, and they'll sign the contract, and we'll set it up just like a traditional closing. It'll be in 30 days or whatever it is. You know, there's not much difference between a traditional sale and an auction, except it's accelerated. There's a time and a place, and it's going to happen, it's going to close, and it happens much faster.
Last question, Mike. How's business?
Business is booming. We're on track to do about 3,500 auctions this year.
I am delighted that you're having a good year, and I hope you have a great 2017, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Mike Jones, Realtor and President of Auction Services at United Real Estate and United Country Real Estate, based in Dallas.